Hello, Disney lovers. Welcome back to another magical episode of the Disney Planning Pod. I'm Haley, your resident Disney fanatic.
And I'm Steph, the newbie on the block, learning all there is to know about the happiest place on earth.
Today, we're diving into something that sounds super complicated. And after our last few episodes, our last two, because we only have two, but when we were talking, Steph, this seemed like something that really overwhelmed you the most, and that is Genie Plus. So I think it's important that we go over it today before we start talking more in depth about planning, because this is a pretty complex topic. So we will include a cheat sheet and go over that today on how to book lightning lanes on the website disneyplanningpod.com. It's going to be free and we will walk you through this. I'm going to make it so easy for you to understand Genie Plus. So what are your thoughts on today's topic, Steph?
I'm just glad we're going over it because it just seems real overwhelming and like very hard. Something I would not do for the sake of my sanity.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how complicated Disney World has made actually going to Disney World. It's so hard to believe that people walk into Disney World and they just think, I've got tickets, we're going. And they walk in and there is something like Genie Plus that to really utilize it, you have to plan and almost study for it.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Let's dive in. Let's get to it because I'm ready.
Well, before we dive in, let's talk about a few things. So, if you listen to our episode on the very first episode where we went over our planning checklist, we did make a mistake in that episode. And by we, I meant I. So, we're going to do a little correction. I was going to say corrections corner, but my favorite murder calls their corrections corner. And I don't want to be a copier, but you know, copying is flattery, right? So we'll just call it corrections corner. So anyway, in that episode, I said that there were over 30 on-property Disney hotels. It turns out there's only 25. So I just wanted to, I didn't want to get the emails from our 10 followers and subscribers telling me that we messed up.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. Also, there was also something else in episode 2 that we were wrong about. I said that there was not an Easter bunny to meet around Easter time at Disney World. I stand corrected. Not only can you meet the Easter bunny, but you can meet Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny around Easter time. And you will find Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny in Liberty Square gazebo the week before Easter. So if you want
All
to
good things to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to like not see characters like, I don't know, that are way cooler, like Tiana, Rapunzel, my favorite Cinderella, you could spend time in an hour waiting to meet the Easter Bunny. Because I heard in my research about the Easter Bunny that the lines do get rather long.
Things I never thought I would know. But yet, here we are.
Before we also move into talking about Genie Plus, we are going to go over our segment, Disney Decoded. So this segment, called Disney Decoded, is where we break down the Disney lingo you need to know to navigate the parks like a pro. Today, we are talking about a term crucial for those long lines, which is lightning lanes.
What exactly are lightning lanes, Haley?
So when we talk about how to navigate Genie Plus later on in the episode, a lightning lane is actually the line that you go stand in to skip the line. So when you go up to an attraction, if you have purchased Genie Plus and you have booked a lightning lane, that's what we call it, booking a lightning lane, you will go to a special queue or a special line, and it'll say lightning lane above it. And that is the line that is going to get shuffled and prioritized to the front. So lightning lanes. So does that make sense to you?
Yes, so there's two lines. One line is a really long line that you do not want to be in, and the other one is called the lightning lane, which you do want to be in.
Yes, and the lightning lane comes with purchasing Genie Plus, which we will go over here in just a minute. And can you take a gander of why they call it a lightning lane?
Fast as lightning.
Yes. You're so
I knew
smart.
it. I knew it.
Now, later on in the podcast, we will talk about an individual lightning lane, which is different than a regular lightning lane. So if you hear people talking about lightning lanes and Genie Plus and you hear them say an individual lightning lane, that's not the same thing. Okay?
God,
So there
my head's already hurting.
just know that lightning lane, that is the regular term meant for people who purchased Genie Plus. Okay, not the same as an individual lightning lane just for people who have purchased Genie Plus. So let's move on to the main topic. What is Genie Plus? Now, I know you had some theories about it at last episode. Can you talk about what these theories are?
Well, I feel like I know a lot more now, but at first I was just thinking it was a plus size genie. Obviously. Genie Plus, plus size, Genie all inclusive of all body types at Disney World. However, I'm 99% sure that's not true anymore. And it has something to do with the lightning lanes and getting on rides faster.
Man, you just listen to those context clues so good. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Genie Plus is the paid skip the line service that Disney World rolled out right after the pandemic. So you used to get what were called FastPasses, and they were essentially kind of like what a lightning lane is now, but you didn't have to pay for them. So after the pandemic, Disney thought this would be a good time to start making customers pay for this because it was always in the works. Disney World was always going to switch to a paid FastPass system. Universal Studios had been doing it for years, and Disney was just biding their time, and the pandemic was the perfect time to roll it out after they had reopened Disney World after they had been closed for a significant amount of time. So now we have Genie Plus.
Seems like a punch in the gut. Seems like, oh, world pandemic? You know what we should do? Make people pay.
Yeah, there was not very many fans. And I would say that it still is a topic of disgruntlement. So,
Disgruntlement.
yes. So, how much would you say that this service would likely cost, or how much would you pay to not have to wait in a long line at Disney World?
Oh, how much would I pay? Hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars just for you?
Like, how long is the line? And what season are we in? These are the questions. There's a lot that goes into paying hundreds of dollars for a line.
I have seen a 4-hour line.
Okay. Heck no. Like, if there was like fondue at the end of it, maybe. But if you're telling me I'm going to get on a ride after 4 hours.
Now, these were big ticket attractions. This was not like waiting 4 hours to ride Dumbo, okay? Or ride the teacups. This is to ride.
You're such a hater.
I like Dumbo and the teacups, but I'm not going to wait 4 hours. I wouldn't wait 4 hours in any of the lines, but especially not those. Now, I did check pricing today, just curious to see what pricing was. We are at the end of April, beginning of May when this episode is coming out. And so it is not peak season, but it's not, the extremely slow season either. And today, if you want to go to Magic Kingdom and buy a Genie Plus service or Genie Plus Lightning Lane, it was $29 per person. So not bad.
Okay. That's not bad, considering the time you save, but do you really need it?
Some people will say no. I, with my 2 kids, would never go and not purchase it for Magic Kingdom. Now, there are some parks, like Animal Kingdom, where it's definitely less important. Now, that $29 is specifically for Magic Kingdom. They have dynamic pricing, which means that these prices will fluctuate depending on time of year. Like I said, it's not a slow time of year. It's not a peak time of year. So this is kind of right in the middle of the road. They also have dynamic pricing depending on what park you're going to that day. So Magic Kingdom is always going to be the most expensive because they're is the most rides there that have the lightning lanes. So you're going to pay more for that. If you wanted to go to Epcot today, it was $21 per person. If you were going to Hollywood Studios, which has a lot of big ticket rides like Slinky Dog and your favorite rock and roller coaster, it was $26 today. Now, like I said, Animal Kingdom is probably the park you can get by the most without purchasing Genie Plus. And today you would pay $18 per person.
So I have a question. Okay, so you buy this Lightning Pass, no, the Genie Plus, the plus size Genie. You buy her, okay? Does that just get you on as many rides as you want? Or is that just for one ride each? So you have to buy, if you want to get on, let's say Slinky Dog, and so you use your Genie Plus for your family, do you have to buy another Genie Plus to get into another Lightning Lane? Does that make sense?
That is a very good question. It's also a loaded question. So for the regular lightning lanes, you buy it once per day and you can book as many lightning lanes as you possibly can. Now, keep in mind that there are some rides that are a little more competitive. Everyone is fighting for the same lightning lanes. And there is a method on how to book them to utilize the service more efficiently. So if you go in and you have no planning and have not given any thought to how you're going to book these, you may only get 2 lightning lanes the whole day, maybe 3. And you might not get on the attractions that are really important to use the lightning lanes for, the attractions that are going to have the longest lines. And so your best strategy is going to be to know what the rides are that go the fastest. There are only so many lightning lanes throughout the day, because if everybody could just book as many lightning lanes as they wanted, it would defeat the purpose. So they have a time slot for you. So you are going to get up. You can purchase Genie Plus starting at midnight the day of your park.
Okay.
That's the earliest you can buy it. There are times that Genie Plus has actually sold out. They've sold more passes than there were people that actually wanted it, but that usually doesn't happen until 7 a.m. the next morning. Okay. Usually when I get there and I am going to purchase Genie Plus, I'll wake up at 6:45. I'll set my alarm and just be up ready to book the lightning lane, because you can book your first lightning lane at 7 a.m. The parks don't typically open until 8 or 9 a.m., but you can pick your first lightning lane at 7 a.m. to book it for when you're going to be at the parks.
Okay, so let me get this right. To get Genie Plus, you have to book it between midnight and 7 a.m.
To get, well, you can't book anything till 7 a.m.
Well, I mean, to get your Genie Plus.
Yes, to purchase it, it's between midnight and 7 a.m.
Okay, and then you set your alarm for 6:45, because then you can book your lightning lanes at 7 a.m.
Yes. Now, let's say you're a late riser and you're going during a moderate time of year. There's moderate crowds. There are likely going to be Genie Pluses to purchase later in the day after 7 a.m. But if you purchase it later in the day, you're not being as efficient because you're not able to book as many. You can't book any lightning lanes till after you purchase it. So today when I checked prices, that was probably around 10 a.m. and there were still every single park still available for Genie Plus for purchase. So it's not going to run out. It's not going to sell out unless you are there during peak season.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can purchase it anytime during the day that they still have it available, but it becomes less valuable if you purchase it later because you're not able to book those lightning lanes.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, at midnight you can purchase through the app, and at 7 a.m. you can make the first selection. So when you are picking what ride you are going to select for your first lightning lane, you will go on there and you'll hit select, and it'll tell you, yay, like who all in your party is going to be on this lightning lane. And you say 5 or 4, and then it books, and it will tell you a return time. That return time is the time you return to the ride and check into the lightning lane. So let's say you get there at 7 a.m. I'm up and we're going to Hollywood Studios today. And I booked Slinky Dog for my first lightning lane, which is what you should always do at Hollywood Studios if you want to go on Slinky Dog, because Slinky Dog will sell out of lightning lanes for that morning rush within minutes. So you want to pick Slinky Dog.
Slinky Dog.
Yep. That's besides the point. So you make your 7 a.m. reservation for Slinky Dog, and it tells you to check into your lightning lane at 9:10 a.m. Okay? You have an hour grace period after 9:10 a.m. So let's say I get stuck at the Starbucks at Hollywood Studios, and I'm in that long line, and I need some caffeine, and it is 9:30. And they told me I got to be there at 9:10. You got until 10:10 to get there and check in.
How gracious. Love it.
And to be honest, they give you a 15-minute grace period after that. So I wouldn't even have to, check in until 10:25 to be sure that I made sure I hit that return time. Let's say I'm just feeling very ambitious this morning, and I make it all the way back to Toy Story Land to get on Slinky Dog at Hollywood Studios at 9:05. Well, my return time's not till 9:10. But you have a 5-minute grace period before that. They'll let you scan in.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yes, and when I say scan in, they will have a stand with a cast member waiting there, and you will need to scan your Magic Band or your ticket card or your Magic mobile phone ticket, and it'll turn green, so it has a light. You scan the scanner, it turns green, and that's how the cast member knows that you are there during the correct time and that, yes, you do have a lightning lane for this attraction.
Okay. So then what happens?
After you scan in, you need to book your next lightning lane right away.
So you're standing in line in the lightning lane, about to get on a ride, having anxiety because you don't know what's going to happen, and you have anxiety because you have to now fight for the next ride? Or is that just my thinking?
Well, if it gives you too much anxiety, you could just ride the ride first and then book your next lightning lane. You don't have to do it right away. Just go ahead and ride
but that's
Slinky
not
Dog.
efficient. That's not efficient.
It's not as efficient, but I care about your mental health. So
very kind. Very kind.
I just want you to get over your first anxiety attack that you are riding Slinky Dog and you're nervous because you don't know what's going to happen. I want you to get over that anxiety panic attack first before you go into the next panic attack of how to book your next one.
Hey, all right. But you can't book your next one until you've checked into your first one. Like this is like a Monopoly effect.
Yes, you can.
Domino. It's called domino effect. Sorry, go on.
Monopoly, domino, same thing. It's okay. It's fine. Yes, unless you book Slinky Dog at 7 a.m. and you didn't get a return time until after 11. Because that can happen. You get pushed out past 11 a.m. for your return time. This inflicts the 2-hour rule.
Oh, dear God. Okay. So I thought I was getting the hang of it. I thought I was getting confident there. I was getting confident that I knew what was going on before you just threw out the 2-hour rule.
So this would be a good time to break out our awesome little cheat sheet that I made that's going to break it down for you. Okay? So anytime you book a lightning lane and when you're there during busy times, those return times are not going to be right away. Okay, so like if you are going to Hollywood Studios during a really busy time and you book Slinky Dog, the likelihood that you're going to end up with a return time in the afternoon or the evening is going to be pretty high because everyone is fighting for that. There's only so many times they can give out, and so those early times tend to go really fast. Okay, so if that happens, well, then in theory, if we did things, you couldn't book another one until you scan in. Well, let's say your return time's at 5:30. So you're telling me you can't get another lightning lane till 5:30 when you scan in? No, this is where the 2-hour rule comes in. So if it was 120 minutes or 2 hours since the last time you booked, then you can book another one, even if you haven't scanned into that first one because that return time is out. Is that still confusing?
No, actually that makes sense because that would make me real angry if I couldn't go on another, because you're paying for the Genie Plus. Like, you're paying
Yes.
for the plus size Genie. Like, you better get use out of it. So if it's 2 hours out, so let's say I booked at 7 a.m. and I didn't have my return time until 4:10, then that's longer than 2 hours. So I could just book my next lightning lane, and it could be before 4:10.
Yes. Now, the caveat to that is for that very first lightning lane, the very first one you book in the morning. This does not pertain to any of the others, but that very first one you book in the morning, even though you book at 7 a.m., you don't get to use the 2-hour rule till the park opens. So you are not going to be able to book another lightning lane till 11 a.m. if the park opened at 9 a.m.
Well, ain't that some bullshit? Can I say that?
And now we're just going to have to put explicit. It's fine. All right, so let's look at the Genie Plus cheat sheet. So what does step 1 say?
Buy Genie Plus starting at midnight.
That's the earliest you can buy it. You don't have to buy it at midnight, but that's the earliest you can purchase it. All right. Step 2, Steph.
And then make your first lightning lane at 7 a.m. So wake up at 6:45, make it at 7 a.m.
Okay, now go to the next portion.
Okay, is your return time more than 2 hours after the park opening? So not at 7 a.m., whenever the park opens.
Now, in your fake scenario,
Mhm,
what are you
mhm.
what are you booking? Let's say we're at Magic Kingdom, because I know you don't know the rides, you don't remember them that well, but like, what is a ride that you would want to use your lightning lane for?
So let's say I'm going on Space Mountain.
Okay, is your return time more than 2 hours after park opening?
No, it's not.
Okay, so then you are going to follow the cheat sheet. And you're going to go, well, this is backwards, but you're going to go to no. So if your return time is not more than 2 hours after park opening, what are you going to do, Steph?
Ride the attraction. Nope. Yep. No. Yes. I don't know what that means. What does ride the attraction mean?
It means you get on Space Mountain and you ride the ride.
Oh.
Unless you've talked yourself out of it by now and have gone out the chicken exit, which is what would likely happen on Space Mountain.
I'm going to be honest. I was looking at this all wrong. Okay. So basically, it's not 2 hours out. So it's like in the morning. So I am going to ride the attraction. But when I'm in line and have pinged, ping, my little bracelet, I'm going to then book my next lightning lane.
Yep. What does the next step say?
Book your next lightning lane as soon as you scan into the attraction. So basically what I just said.
Exactly. And by attraction stuff, I know this was confusing for you last time. That means the ride.
It's a little confused.
Okay, what is the next step? What is the next step? What ride? Yeah, what ride did you book? Tell me in your fake scenario.
Okay. We're still at Magic Kingdom.
I know you don't know what magic. Just take a gander.
Okay. Teacups.
Sure.
Okay. We're going to the teacups.
Is your next return time more than 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You know why? Because people want the teacups, Haley.
In no world ever will the teacups ever, almost never, unless it is like the highest peak day, will your return time be more than 2 hours on teacups. But go on. In this fake scenario, it is. Is your return time more than 2 hours? Yes. So
yes.
You go to yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
So then set an alarm for 2 hours and then book your next lightning lane.
All right.
Then what does it tell you to do now? What lightning lane did you book this time?
Oh man. The magic carpets. I don't know what rides are in Magic Kingdom.
Yes, you booked it for Magic Kingdom. Now, is your return time more than 2 hours?
No.
So you are going to want to go down to the next little thing that says no.
And go back up to step 3 where it says ride the attraction and then book your next lightning lane.
So it's just a big circle. This is what we call a decision tree. I know you like decision trees, Steph, because you're a teacher and you like visuals. This will be
It's a really nice visual.
Yeah. Does it make sense looking at the visual or more sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay. Great. That's what we do here on the Disney Planning Pod. We aim to please. So that was our example of Magic Kingdom. Now, we talked about, here's a little quiz. What if you get a competitive ride and the return time is out in the evening? What do you do then?
You wait 2 hours after the park is opened. So if it opens at 9, you set your alarm for 2 hours for 11 o'clock, and then you can book your next lightning lane in front of your first lightning lane.
Yes, but let's say it's no longer 2 hours after the park opens. Let's say you're booking a 12 o'clock lightning lane. It's noon. You're getting ready to go get yourself a grilled cheese sandwich from Woody's Lunchbox at Hollywood Studios. Mwah. They're delicious, by the way.
I would assume so by the kissy face you just did.
So you're getting ready to do that. It's noon and you book your lightning lane, but it's not until 7 p.m. What do you do?
Eat lunch and then wait 2 hours.
Yes, you did it. You did it. You did it. Smart.
Oh my gosh.
So
Love it.
So to simplify, use your decision tree. Did you scan into the ride? Yes. Book a lightning lane. Is your return time more than 2 hours out? Yes. Set an alarm and then book a lightning lane.
See, these are handy tips. What about changing your mind? Can you modify your lightning lane selections?
Absolutely, you can modify them. So let's say you, again, we'll go back to Slinky Dog. You book Slinky Dog, but your return time's not till 5 p.m. and you are going to be leaving the park by 5 p.m. because your kids cannot handle being in the park that long. So you just refresh your Genie Plus because new ones will pop up throughout the day sometimes, or people will cancel them, and so certain ones will pop up. If you see a better time pop up, then you can modify your lightning lane selections, which is awesome. Now, it's also really cool because they've instituted the 2-hour rule. So it's noon, you're eating your Woody's Lunchbox, you booked your Slinky Dog, and doesn't have a return time till 7 p.m. And you are just refreshing your phone and you see a 2:15 pop up and you modify it, then that 2-hour rule doesn't start over again. So you will still be able to book a new lightning lane at 2 p.m. because you booked Slinky Dog at noon. And even if you modified that ride at 1:15, your 2-hour rule doesn't start over again.
Wow.
You will still be able to book another lightning lane, even though you modified it during that 2-hour time, right at 2.
That's sneaky. Sneaky Disney.
Well,
sneaky.
Yep. So modify it till your heart's content.
So how many of these can you book in a day, do you think?
I've had 9, 10, 11 on a good day. There's no set limit. It just depends on availability and your timing with that 2-hour rule. So during busy times, obviously there's less lightning lanes to go around. And so you might only get 4, 5 that day. You can also stack your rides.
What's stacking?
So stacking is when you line up all of your lightning lanes for later in the day. So let's say you want to sleep in after, or go back to sleep. You're not going to sleep in because you're going to be booking those lightning lanes at 7 a.m. But let's say you don't want to go to the parks till later in the afternoon. You can book lightning lanes throughout the day and throughout the morning so that when you get to the park in the evenings, you have a whole list of lightning lanes to just knock out. Now, you are going to be subject to that 2-hour rule. So what you need to do is you need to book your first one at 7 a.m., then book your next one 2 hours after the park opens, then book your next one 2 hours after that, so on and so forth, modifying the times till you get the times you want in the evening. So when you get to the park at 4 p.m., you've got a nice little cache of lightning lanes ready to go. So you can just go boom, boom, boom through all those rides.
See, if I liked rides, I think that's what I would want to do. Is like stack them in the evening.
And then just relax in the morning?
Oh yeah, sleep in, hang by the pool, not be rushed, and just know that when I got there, I could ride rides.
You would like that. But then if you don't get there like like right when park opens, then it's like busier than like just more people. I like to go early when there's less people, but it is a good strategy if you don't want to go to the parks early in the morning. So,
All right. So I guess my next question would be what attractions are included with the Genie Plus?
so most of the big attractions are on there, and a lot of the littler ones like teacups, magic carpets, those are on there. At Magic Kingdom, you are going to have 23 lightning lanes available. So Magic Kingdom is a great park to use it in. That's also why it's the most expensive, because you have 23 rides you can use it for. So 23 opportunities. Epcot, you're going to have 10 rides that have Genie Plus. Hollywood Studios has 14 rides that have Genie Plus, and Animal Kingdom has 11. Now, some of these lightning lanes are going to be shows as well. So at Animal Kingdom, there are several shows, not necessarily rides, that you can use it for. So if you end up using a lightning lane for a show, it does not mean you necessarily get to skip to the front of the line, but you will have a dedicated seat. Some of those shows, if it's during a busy time, the times will sell out. So people will go to get in the show line and they'll be like, no, there's no more availability. There's no more room. You're going to have to wait till the next show. So if you book it for a show, you have a guaranteed seat during
See,
the
that's
show.
what I'm talking about. Shows are my jam. Like, shows are my bread and butter.
So yeah, Animal Kingdom, it might be worth it to you so that you can go to Festival of the Lion King show, which is like a musical number. And you would have a dedicated seat. You could just show up, right before and get your seat. And then you know that you don't have to show up 30 minutes before the show starts to make sure that you're in the front of the line through the regular line.
Right. Right. So what if I want to go to like a different park? Like, can I like check on rides or book lightning lanes at different parks on the same day?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you are going to be what we call park hopping, so you're going to be planning on going to more than one park in a day, then when you purchase Genie Plus at midnight or during the day, you select the park hopper option or the all parks option. So it's usually the same price as Magic Kingdom, and then you can book any lightning lane at any park.
Okay.
So park hopping, it's great. You can go to you just need to make sure you select the Genie Plus multi-park option and then modify your times for when you're going to be in the park. It's also really good for stacking. So if you know you're going to be at Animal Kingdom in the morning and you know that park doesn't really necessarily need Genie Plus as much, but you know you're going to be going to Hollywood Studios in the evening, then you can continue to book lightning lanes and modify those times and stack them for when you get to Hollywood Studios later.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Say it louder for the kids in the back. I mean, if you.
So let's just talk a little bit about individual lightning lanes. We might have to do a whole episode on this, but I do want to touch on it. So there are what we call individual lightning lanes at each park that are not within the umbrella of Genie Plus. These are what we call fancy rides. Fancy rides is the term that was coined by Molly from Mammoth Club. She is my favorite YouTube Disney person. And they are just rides that are bigger ticketed attractions that you pay extra to get an individual lightning lane for. So on top of Genie Plus, there are a few rides that are not covered on that you have to pay extra for to get in the lightning lane.
I almost just cussed again.
How do you feel about this?
That's just annoying to me. Like you're already paying for the plus Genie. It should be all of them. Like they're just being greedy now. That's greedy. That's greedy.
They're really nickel and diming you there. Now, the nice thing about if you're doing a fancy ride or an individual lightning lane is you actually get to select your time. You don't get
Well, I would hope so.
You
I
don't
would
just
hope
get the
so.
Genie Plus gods that hand you a return time. When you get on and you purchase it, it'll give you a list of available times so you can actually like pick your times. You're not just
And plan your day around it.
Yes. Yes. So usually each park has one individual lightning lane that they require payment for. There's only one as of right now. There are some changes. We'll see how this summer goes at Magic Kingdom, because right now they have individual lightning lanes in Magic Kingdom for Tron. Tron is the newest roller coaster to just open up that has an individual
In
lightning lane.
Animal Kingdom?
Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Did I
That
say Animal
Tron and
Kingdom?
Animal. No, you said Magic Kingdom. I don't know why I thought you said Animal Kingdom.
You don't think Tron belongs in Animal Kingdom?
It was gonna cause a pause for me there for a second, but.
So right now, Tron has the individual lightning lane, and those prices, again, will fluctuate based off of how busy Disney anticipates the parks to be. So again, it's not the same price every day. And
So when you went to Disney, sorry,
Mhm.
when
No,
you went to Disney with mom and dad, did you do individual?
yes.
What did dad think about that?
Well, Dad didn't pay for it. I did. So Dad was just living his best life because he just thought it was amazing that we got to skip in front of all these lines.
That sounds delightful.
At Magic Kingdom, there's currently two. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is an individual lightning lane, which is a roller coaster, and Tron is an individual lightning lane, and that's a roller coaster. Now, I'm interested to see this summer Splash Mountain, which got refurbished into Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and so it's going to be brand new animatronics and theming. That for sure is going to be an individual lightning lane. So I'm interested to see if they keep 3 individual lightning lanes at Magic Kingdom and really try to be greedy, or if they drop Seven Dwarfs Mine Train from an individual lightning lane.
They all sound like terrible, terrible, terrible rides, but that is greedy.
They are great rides if you are not a weenie. So right now, Magic Kingdom is the only park that has 2 of these fancy rides or individual lightning lanes. At Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is a roller coaster, has an individual lightning lane. And then at Animal Kingdom, it is Flight of Passage. And that is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a 3D ride where they simulate you're riding a banshee through the
Off of
forest.
Avatar.
Well, yeah, it's from Avatar. Yeah, you're riding a banshee. That is an individual lightning lane. And at Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance, which is a Star Wars ride, is an individual lightning lane. So those will not be included in your Genie Plus purchase. You have to purchase extra benefit or extra perks to skip the lines. You can still wait in the long lines. That's fine. You just
like, how much are we talking about extra?
Well, I said I've seen a 4-hour wait before. That was for Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios.
But like, how much would the extra on top of the Plus Genie?
So, like, how much did the individual lightning lanes cost? Anywhere from like $8 to $30.
$30? If you're going with like family of 5, geez Louise.
It adds up. So it's just something to consider. And those, it's going to be more expensive. It's going to depend on what ride it is. And
peak season.
Peak season. Now, here's the caveat with individual lightning lanes and when you can book them. So Genie Plus, you can book your first one at 7 a.m. You can also book a fancy ride or an individual lightning lane at 7 a.m. if you are staying on Disney property. So that's how they kind of get you, because sometimes the individual lightning lanes can sell out before the park opens. All guests can purchase an individual lightning lane no matter where you are staying at 9 a.m. or whenever the park opens. So if the park opens at 8 a.m., you can purchase it then too. But people that are staying off property or are not staying at a Disney resort cannot purchase an individual lightning lane at 7 a.m.
They just probably are just singing to themselves, money, 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 all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so that
I mean,
was
they're a
a
business. I can't blame them, but
yeah, they're raking in the dough. When Genie Plus first came out, it was straight across the board $15 a day. Straight across. Those were the days. Since then, 4 years after the pandemic, we are now up to, I think the highest it's been as of time of recording, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes higher, was $39 per day for Genie Plus. It was 15 when it started.
hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so that was a quick lowdown on Genie Plus. The big takeaways of this is just to make sure that you go and download our free Genie Plus decision tree and guide. You can get it on our website at disneyplanningpod.com. And I do feel like it's helpful to understand, to see a visual on
Yeah,
real.
the visual is very helpful. I would need to carry the visual around with me in the park though. Just be
Well, you
standing in line, get my paper out, just
you won't have
uncrinkle
to,
it.
because you really could just download it to your phone and have it on your phone.
Oh yeah. Be like, okay, what step am I on now? Oh,
Yeah.
follow the arrow.
Yeah, like it's 2 hours, or nope,
Yeah.
it's not within 2 hours. I can book my next one after scanning in. So,
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by the Genie cheat sheet.
yeah,
The Genie Plus, sorry. That plus size Genie.
plus FG. So, moving on to sibling showdown, where Steph and I take different opinions. Would you want to get rid of Genie Plus?
I think we're going to agree on this one. I would not want to get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
This is because I hate lines. And if there's any way to cheat the lines, even if you have to pay some cash, I don't want to be standing in lines. Like, I mean, I personally don't want to ride all the rides I can ride, but like, I want to do other things besides standing in line all day.
I agree in theory. I, again, will always budget to have Genie Plus on all of our Disney World trips because it is worth it. But Genie Plus and the lightning lanes themselves compound the long lines because those people standing in the long lines are moving at a slower pace because people with Genie Plus are cutting in front of them. So
How
every
mad
ride
would you be if you didn't know
that,
about the plus size Genie and then you're just standing in those long lines and you're just like, who are these people? What are they
yeah,
doing?
yeah. Or you bought Genie Plus and didn't know how to like utilize it and you think you can just book, or go show up anytime and that you're
That's
going to book like
crazy.
every ride. Like you think you're going to book 23 rides at Magic Kingdom and just be able to fly through them all. So this is where our podcast hopefully comes in handy.
I feel like this is way more clear to me now. I feel like I could almost do it. Like, I still wouldn't want to, but I feel like I could if I had to.
I think you definitely could do it. So, all right. Uh, last segment of the day will end on my favorite time of the podcast, and that's Character Corner. Now, Character Corner is where we actually talk about real life scenarios and correlate them with Disney characters. So today we're going to do a little fun exercise. Steph, have you heard Taylor Swift's new album,
Yes,
The
both of
Tortured
them.
Poets Department?
Hmm.
Yes. What are your thoughts?
Oh, what are my. It's so sad. It's sad. It's so good, but so sad.
Yeah,
And
love
yet
it.
hilarious all at one time.
Hilarious.
Just for the people she's writing about.
Yeah. Good
Like,
old Maddie
wouldn't
Healy.
want to be on her bad side.
Yeah. So today, during Character Corner, we're going to go through some of the tracks on the Tortured Poets Department um, track list and see if Taylor Swift was writing about them for a specific Disney character.
It's quite a surprise to me, as I was not prepared for that to be what Character Corner was about today.
I I just thought of it. We were going to talk about something else, but let's just talk about one of my favorite subjects, Taylor Swift. So I've given it some thought, but I do want to like put you on the spot and
Oh
see
no.
like, and it can be
Okay.
any Disney character, animated, It could be like a show series. It could be like an actual like Star Wars character, anything that's related to Disney. So the first one we're going to say is the title, But Daddy, I Love Him.
Oh, that would be about Aladdin.
Aladdin?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it. Explain.
Well, just because, but Daddy, I love him. Like doesn't, he's not rich. He's not a prince, you know, he's from the street. He's from the hood. Like he steals stuff with his dirty monkey. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the Sultan didn't really wouldn't have probably approved of that. He
right,
needed to marry
right,
a prince.
right.
So
So I just feel like she would write that song about him.
see, I can see that, but like the most obvious one for me was Little Mermaid, because I think in Little Mermaid she actually says, "But Daddy, I love him," and then King Triton just like blows up her statue of Prince Eric,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like because he's trying to protect her.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah, again, I've had some time to think about it. All right, what about So Long London?
Oh, So Long London. I don't know. So Long London. I don't know. I want to hear your take. I can't think. So Long London.
Mine's like just like the most obvious. I would say Peter Pan, because like they're legit flying through London and flying to Never Never Land. Maybe not like the context of the song, but the title itself. You know how they like Peter comes and grabs Wendy and her brothers, and they like land on Big Ben in London, and they fly to the first star on the right. Do you remember anything about Peter Pan from your childhood?
No, I liked Peter Pan, but it wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I don't know who I would say. I'm trying to think of like a scenario where like I don't know.
Hmm.
Go on to the next one.
How about I Can Fix Him? No, really, I can.
I can fix him. No, really, I can. Oh, geez. Oh, it's that one where the forest. Oh, I don't even know if this is a Disney movie though. This is how bad it is. But there's that bat that like gets electrocuted.
Fern Gully?
Yeah, Fern Gully.
I don't think Fern Gully was Disney, but I could be wrong. Let me see. Let me just do a little podcast research here. Fern Gully, Disney. It's Disney. Fern Gully. Is it Disney? I don't think it was Disney.
Oh,
Last
well,
Forest. No, it's a non-Disney cartoon. And okay, but like let's say just for those weird 90s kids like us, what would make Fern Gully I Can Fix Him? No,
well,
really, I
because he didn't
can't.
believe in pollution before. You know, he was like putting paint on trees. And she was just like, I can fix him. I can make him believe. This is where my mind went.
Steph,
Fern.
I don't if I recall right, the bat wasn't putting paint on trees. The bat had been worked on
Oh, I'm not talking
by
about the bat. I'm talking about I'm not talking about the bat. I'm talking about that guy, the guy in it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the
He
bat. I
was
was like,
putting
he was a
paint on the
victim.
trees, and then he was a victim.
Okay.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking now?
Who? What?
Anastasia.
Is that a Disney character? So, okay, so
Is it
you think
Anastasia?
I think oh,
I think it's a
let me look.
Disney with Rasputin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like how the dad and that whole family thinks that they can change him, right? That he's going to be like a good guy and then he's like not.
Okay, so I can see that. Yes, that's a good one. Oh, that's better
Ew,
than
it
mine.
just came to me. It just came to
And
me.
I will allow it because Anastasia originally was not a Disney movie, but Disney has now taken over um, the company 20th Century Fox. So now it's in the Disney collection.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Good. Whew.
So I was gonna say those Anastasia. I think that might be the winner. I was gonna say either of the princesses in Frozen because like
Mm,
Elsa, like
mm-hmm.
people just think they can save her, but then Anna wants to like help that one guy, but she doesn't know he's like bad. So it's not like she's like, hey, I can help him. She just thinks he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. The next one is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?
See, this one. Man. Who would I choose? Who's afraid of little old me?
Elsa. That's who I choose.
That's what I was going to say. Elsa.
I do think
I was going to say Frozen, but then I was trying to think of something else because we just said Frozen, but
I know.
probably Elsa.
I would think so too. All right. The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived.
Smallest man who ever lived. Ugh. I got to go back to Aladdin again, you know?
Why?
Not with Aladdin. Oh gosh, what was his name? Jafar. Smallest man that ever lived.
I'd pick Gaston.
Oh, yeah, he's terrible too.
Gaston's just the worst.
Worse than Jafar?
Yes, he was going to murder the beast. I don't know. Jafar
put her in like a slinky red outfit and like chained her to the wall.
So I've like looked back on that, like,
and he was like an old dude.
I don't know how appropriate that would be now. He really did like put her in a slinky red outfit with like a ponytail and like chained her.
I know. Who's the smallest man to ever live? Jafar.
Yeah. All right, fine. I agree with you. Fine. What about Fresh Out the Slammer? Mine are like all literal. Like, I picked the Tramp from Lady and the Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp.
Like,
yeah,
literal.
That's a good one.
Like, you know, like, but that's, you know, not what the song's about.
I'm trying to think of like somebody that like got out and like got to be free.
Ooh, Flynn Rider. Wasn't he like real naughty?
Who's Flynn Rider?
Oh my gosh. From Tangled.
Oh yeah, it would be Tangled for sure. She like got to spread her wings from being in a dungeon and got to like live her best life.
You took it like Rapunzel. I was saying Flynn Rider, like the boy in that. But yeah, Tangled.
She would be like locked up in a tower and finally she was like out of jail, like free to live her life.
Yeah, that's 100%. All right, winner.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, that's the end of Character Corner and Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift edition.
I enjoyed that one.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
All right. Well, that's the end, I think, of our podcast today. So I just want to remind everyone to go to DisneyPlanningPod.com and get that free Genie Plus cheat sheet to help you wrap your mind around the amalgamation. Is that a word? The craziness of Genie Plus.
Amalgamation.
Yeah.
If it is a word, I've never heard of it before, but doesn't mean it's not a word.
Yeah, go get that. It's absolutely free to download. And then be sure to check out episode 1 where we break down everything you need to know about where to start planning your trip and actually have another free beginner's checklist there. Also, make sure to share and rate us to help us get seen.
Yep, and like Haley said, check out our website at DisneyPlanningPod.com. You can get our free planning checklist, our Genie Plus cheat sheet, get access to other planning tools, check out our Facebook page, Disney Planning Pod, and we're excited to hear your thoughts and answers, your burning questions in future episodes.
So that's all today, Disney Planners. Remember, the magic is in the details. Thanks for joining us.